Hi, I'm Nigel Teller. I've had the privilege to interview two gentlemen who has had stellar careers working behind the scenes in the film industry. They reside here in Illinois state capital, Springfield. Please join me in getting to know Jim Betts and Dean Williams in this two-part docuseries, Behind the Lens.
My name is James H. Betts. I was born and raised in Aberdeen, Mississippi, a little small town about 90-some miles from Memphis.
After graduating college, Jim moved to California and worked as a traffic guard.
I was directing traffic out in Culver City, and every day I would see this guy. He would stop and talk to me, and he would ask me about coming into the studio.
Jim was reluctant at first, but decided to take the guy up on his offer, and he would not regret his decision.
I talked to Tony. His name was Tony Leonardo. He was the head of the department at MGM Studios, a scenic and art department. So I kept putting it off, and I would tell him, I would always come up with a story that I just don't know what I would do, Tony. I mean, in fact, I don't know anything about movie making, and that's not. He said, well, we have an apprentice program, and I would put you in that program,
Jim had to start from the bottom and work his way up.
I started like in the art department doing grunt work. I would do layouts and do all cleaning up their brushes and everything else they had, the easels or whatever, that's what I was doing.
Jim learned carpentry in school, and those skills would soon pay off.
I began to master my craft. It took me 3 years to become a 2 card. Mm-hmm. So, because that's how they classified you then. You classify you starting with a 3, 2, then 1. So after I became a 2 card, I began to do a lot more work. I began to get on the sets, and I was doing a lot of building and decorating.
While working in the film industry, Jim's biggest challenge was racism.
The major studios were under fire about hiring minorities. He said there's elements that don't want you here in the first place, but you're gonna stay here. You're gonna do it.
The racism became too much for Jim.
I went to Tony crying one day because I was 20 or 21 at that time, because I was tired of the racism stuff that was going on.
Right.
And I told him I was going to quit, and he said, "No, you're not going to quit." He said, "No, I knew this would happen, and that's one of the reasons why I chose you, because I felt that you could handle it."
Jim decided to talk with his co-workers about resolving their issues while working on set.
I kind of kept an upbeat about it. I mean, there were earlier, now I have to admit, there were times that I just went to the person and told them, listen, I'm sick of this N word, and you're calling me, if you're having a problem with me because of the color of my skin, I don't want you to lose your job, and I certainly don't want to lose mine.
They settled their differences, and Jim went on to become the first African American to head a major motion picture studio.
When Mr. Nelson asked me, actually demanded that I become the department head at Paramount, I had just come back from location, and the first thing when I walked into the office was that Lois, who was the secretary, she said, "Jim, Mr. Nelson wants to see you in this office." I thought, gee whiz, I just got back. What's going on, But everybody was talking. The rumor was around that Frank Clark, who was the department head, was going to be leaving or retiring, and they were going to bring in a new department head. Well, the first thing I thought was that because his son and I were so close. Really, I mean, we were really tight. And whatever movie he went on, he always wanted me to go with him. And we played a lot of golf together, you know. And so I thought to myself, why doesn't he get his son to become the department head? And finally I went to Frank and I said, Frank, look, he knew about Rick was going to bring me in, you know. And I said, why didn't you recommend Gary? He said, oh, no. I said, Gary, temperament and his attitude, it would never work, you know. And this is what the guy was saying about his own son. So he said, no, you're the best bet.
Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for part 2 when I interview Dean Williams.